Spaghetti Bolognese. A little bit different. Usual suspects. Onions, garlic, a bit of Italian herbs, a jar of, well, basically sauce. I'm going to throw in a packet of chili con carne. So it's going to be spaghetti bog with an edge. Garlic. It's not important, but I'm just going to show people how I cut an onion up. It's not that exciting. I just take the top off. I take the bottom off, or vice versa. And then I'll just peel the outer first layer. You can't see what I'm doing here, can you? And then just peel. Pretty simple. Not exciting, I know, but that's how I do it. Even more exciting is doing the garlic. Nice fresh garlic. I will probably add 5 cloves to the dish. Again, it's pretty simple. All I do is cut one end off, cut another end off, and then just flick the skin off. Yeah, it's a bit fiddly. Yeah, you can hit it with a hammer or the back of a knife. But cooking's not a rush for me. I enjoy cooking. And then you end up with a clove ready to cut up. See? Whoops, I left a bit of skin on that one. That will be a comment, I'm sure. But there you go. All this is very simple, basic stuff. Okay, I'm going to chop the onion and garlic up now. Just, some people like really lean beef, but when you're making spaghetti bog, definitely get the one that's like 20%, or about that, in fat content, because that's going to add the flavour. Let's put that out the wall. That's going to be the mix that we're going to put in with the mince. Make it taste a bit like tacos. It's a sauce, use any sauce you like. This just happens to be a brand that's got red wine and rosemary. Italian herbs. But you don't need to panic too much with how precise your onions are cut. I tend to just do it quite rough because I like texture in food, and if you cut onions up too small, well, just becomes an onion sauce. So nothing really complicated about this. You know, chunky onions, because they'll cook down nice and tender. So that's how I will cut my onions up. Now the garlic, this is just my habit. Now you don't have to do this, you can do it on the deck, but I will tend just to cut the garlic up like so. Yes, it's not super small, thick, again, texture. I love garlic. So that is just a simple process of how I cut my garlic up. I suppose you'd say it's reasonably thin. It's not crushed. You can use crushed garlic. When I do use garlic out of a jar, it will be an organic one. I think the company's called Jensen's in Australia. It's probably all around the world, I suppose. So let me finish chopping all these up, and then we'll get started in the pan. Here is my camera tripod. That's right. It normally goes that way. Yes. It's a biscuit barrel. And all I do is I put the lid like that, and then I'll set my camera on top, like that. Let's get started. Okay, I'll just put the heat on the big pan, and the spaghetti bog is all cooked in the one pan. Like most things I do. One pan, less cleaning up. So just a bit of olive oil, and now you're going to put in all of these onions and garlic. Okay. So 3 fairly good sized onions, 5 cloves of garlic. get my wooden spoon. One wooden spoon. So what I'm going to do now is not that exciting. I'm going to cook the onions and garlic through. Oh, the smell of the garlic is just to die for. Back shortly. Alright, we're only a few minutes in, a couple of minutes, and the onions and garlic are slowly cooking. So we'll come back in about another 4 or 5 and they'll be ready then for me to put the meat in. It's been about 5 minutes and these onions are basically al dente. Alright, so I'm just pushing them to one side because they're going to keep cooking. Now I'm going to add the minced beef, the washing hand, and what I do, this is 2.5 pounders, or 2.2 pounds, it's a kilo, 80-20, in other words 20% fat. And I'm just going to open it up a little bit. Spread it out a bit. You see what I'm doing. I'm just when we get cooking this on the one side, stirring it over. Okay. Now that will take probably 5-6 minutes, and then you'll see a change, and I'll flip it over and break it up even more. Stand by. While we're waiting for the mince to cook, and this is a toilet in Australia, and as you can see, there is a toilet. Funny picture on the wall, and of course air quality control system. And around here, yeah, it's full of butterflies. Why? I reckon it looks good. Well, there you go. As you can see, it's starting to cook and it's starting to sweat from underneath. This is the time I'll add some herbs. This is just a little bit of parsley flakes. Because this is not fresh, I'll put this in earlier. If I had fresh parsley, which I will have shortly, I will be adding it in later. But because it's going in now, the moisture from the meat will actually do a process of actually dissolving it. Like I say, fresh herbs are totally different. This is Italian herbs. Is there a quantity? No, I just judge it what I think should be in there. And so you can now see that one side is starting to cook. So I just flip it over. You don't need a flip it over degree to know what I'm doing. I'm just turning the meat over. And then I'll be breaking it up a fair bit more, as you can see. This will go on for another 15-20 minutes before I add that seasoning I showed you. At this stage, because those onions are still cooking, I will flip them as well. Like I say, they were about 60-70% cooked when I first started. Now I've added the meat. They will continue to cook. Right, we'll leave that another 5 or 10 minutes. And we'll come back. Forgot to show you, I also add some cracked pepper. I love pepper. All people know that by now. But I don't add salt. Now, the reason why I don't add salt is that I don't mind people putting salt on their own plate. But the less salt you have, the better. But if it needs a little bit of salt, by all means I will add it. But I don't generally, as a rule, add a lot of salt in cooking. Right, we're another few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes down the track. You see the mince is about 70-80% cooked. So this is the time I'll add this packet of, it's chili con carne, but it could be, you could use Mexican seasoning, you could use taco packets, you know the taco packets you get. And the reason I put it in now, again, these are not fresh ingredients. And I will now mix everything together. A good stir. I'm going to cook that through for about another 4 or 5 minutes before I add that sauce. But the meat's getting there, but now we've added that extra seasoning. You need to cook that through. But with most dry herbs or spices, you need to cook them through. A lot of people know what I'm talking about. You get a fry pan, a little bit of olive oil, and put fresh herbs and spices in to release their flavours. This process is not that dissimilar. I'm mixing all that seasoning into the mixture now. I'm adding a jar of this sauce, but you could just add, as you've seen in the past, add fresh tomatoes. It's entirely up to you. Right, we'll let it do its job for another 5 or 10 minutes and come back. Right, it's been a little while, and you can now see, you see it's basically a fairly dry mix. There's not lots of oil because that's being cooked out, and the water that was in the mix has been cooked out. So that's at a good stage now for me to add this. Now you could, like I say, add fresh tomatoes instead, but I'm lazy today, so I've got a tin of basically the home of Bolognese, it says. This just happens to be red wine and rosemary. As you know, there are many varieties. So that goes in. I like taking a little bit of water, put the lid back on. I mean just a little bit of water. So you get all of it out. Now this has been cooking on about medium heat, not hot. I'm now going to lower this down to a simmer. You see it's quite a wet mixture now because of that sauce. But I will lower it down to a simmer, and then we are going to leave it simmering, I reckon a good 20 minutes. That's nice and low, just ticking over as you can see. That's all you want. We'll come back in 20 minutes and it should just about be done. Been on about 3 or 4 minutes, has shown you that simmer level you want. You don't want it just ticking over, just beyond boiling point. Right, but I'll just tell you that. I know most of you are not going to be interested, but just a gentle simmer. That's what it looks like. Well, we're getting close to the end. Just a little tip that I've always done is, you see where the gentle simmer is bubbling, with just the liquid coming up. I'll taste that because that will give you the idea of the flavour of the whole pot. Yep, doesn't need anything added to there, no salt definitely, because there's a bit of obviously sodium in that packet of chili con carne. It's not very hot, don't think because it said chili con carne there's heat involved. It's not, it's the flavours within that packet that have been added. Probably about another 5 minutes and we're done. Oh, I'm just about happy with that. That's the consistency I like. In other words, it's reasonably thick. It still has a bit of saucy bit about it. Rose having a bit of a word to say. Let's taste. That's really good. That is really good. Now it's in the morning here, and I've made up the spaghetti bog side of it, and I'm going to let it cool down, and then I will package what we're not going to eat today into containers for Ron, later on, and then I'll reheat a portion that we need for our meal tonight, and I'll show you how to cook spaghetti. It's not that hard, but that's where we're at. About to turn it off, let it cool down. Oh, someone did ask what this big cast iron pan is. It's a chasseur. Beautiful pot. One of my sons gave that to me for a birthday present many years ago. Beautiful. Alright, we'll see you later tonight. I'll add it on the end of these videos and show you how to cook spaghetti. It's not really complicated. But if I didn't do it, people say, why didn't you show the spaghetti? See you later. Spaghetti time. Hot water, salt. Now wait for it to boil. Okay. Yes, it's a spaghetti container. Tupperware, going back to the 14th century. Okay, with spaghetti in general, as you know, can be quite long. Okay, and how much spaghetti do you need? well, I'm going to cook a bit more than we need because we'll have leftovers. But you could put spaghetti in a big pot, that length if you want to, but it's a lot easier to crack it in half. Fits in the pan better. Let's do that now. Okay, we have boiling water, which that is a rolling boil, if you know what I mean. It's rolling. Looking beautiful. I could have used a bigger pot, but I didn't. So that's what we've got. Yeah, use a bigger pot. Generally, I just figured I'd use this pot. So, salted water, boiling. Keep an eye on it because it'll boil over very, very easily. But look at the actual. Keep moving the paste around in the boiling water. Just to make sure it doesn't stick, mainly. You put a bit of olive oil in your, I don't do that, some people do. We're about a third of the way through. Okay. I know it's not quite finished yet, but I just wanted to show you something. If you haven't got fingers of steel, you don't do this, but you're just testing to see if it pull apart. And it's not there yet. Another way to test it is to knock on your neighbour's door, take a handful of spaghetti and throw it against his kitchen wall. If it sticks, it's ready to eat. Or just do what I did and make sure that it's al dente, then eat it in your own house. Okay. I'm pretty sure this will be ready. For sure. Look, come here, come here. Taste. It's al dente. It's not cooked all the way through, it's tender as you break through. So that is ready. And now we'll dish up our evening meal, spaghetti bol, the best you'll ever find in the world. Right, just reheating a portion of that spaghetti bog I made earlier to go with the spaghetti. And then we'll put it all together. Right, let's strain the spaghetti off. Nothing really complicated about that. Just a nice big colander. Right, let's dish it up. All right, we're going to have X amount of spaghetti, and that is hot. Some people just mix their spaghetti and meat in together, that's fine. Do it a little bit different. That is yum. Of course you'll mix it all in as you go along. What I do like on mine, and so does the missus, is a nice big dollop of sour cream. It's a good dollop. Now along with that, the wife likes the sweet chilli. I like a bit of a kick. Just a little drizzle of that on top. And then of course, obligatory, got to do this, nice bit of cheese. And that is fit for a king. I'm going to eat it, and if you have been, thanks for watching.